Hi everyone, it's Star. Welcome back to another video of StarSeed Insights. Yes, this is a StarSeed Insight video, and today we're going to be talking about love and relationships. And of course, I've taken my notes and I will be referring to them. So, the topic is love and relationships. So the first question or the main objective is, what does it take to have a successful relationship, to maintain it, and all of those things. And of course, I'm speaking solely from experience. After journeying through many relationships and different facets and different levels, and being a healer on a soul level, and all of those things, so I really have some concrete intel that I can share with everyone. So, what does it take? So, firstly and foremost, it requires for two individuals to be whole, to be healed within themselves before they try to join in partnership and in union with one another. And the reason that's so important is because when you enter a relationship and you have distorted and fragmented pieces from your past relationships, from family traumas, all of those things, any relationship in your life that naturally sends you in a direction to love and to rely on, what's the best way for me to explain this? So typically, love relationships are a stem and a continuation from what we've experienced from childhood through our own family dynamic growing up. Mother father relationships, brother sister, whatever intimate relationship that was, if you were raised by your grandparents, your uncles, or whoever raised you, like in a family dynamic. Typically, once we go out into the world, when we leave our family and we enter love relationships, the basis of what we have, what we understand, what we will accept, what we will allow, what we contribute, how we reciprocate, a huge deal of that is developed and cultivated through childhood, through adolescence, through growing up. So whatever you predominantly were exposed to throughout those defining years of your life, 9 times out of 10 is what you're going to go back and project onto the world, onto other people. And more often than not, and unfortunately, when we leave our family, our initial family dynamic, that initial intimate setting that we were birthed into, that we relied so much on, that we picked up characteristics from, reaction tactics from, how we perceive love, how we give love, how we accept love, all of those things are formed in very crucial years of our life through growing up and development. And if it was, unfortunately and more often than not, if you were raised in a dynamic that was distorted energy, fragmented pieces from traumas from generations, from your mother's mother, from your father's father, so on and so forth, and more often than not, our own parents could have joined in a union that is full of distorted energy, that is stemming from like toxicity, from post-traumatic stress syndromes, for whatever hardships that you encountered before you joined a union, before you encountered another individual. So that is why it is so important to make sure that you are healed, that you are whole, and that you are emotionally responsible, you are mentally responsible for yourself, not for anyone else. Because that's the thing. When we grow up in childhood, and let's say if you grew up in a toxic dynamic, or a family dynamic where it was no love really displayed, or it was toxic love and all of those things, you're going to just naturally, subconsciously, is what our brain does. From the moment that we're birthed into this world, like we instantly, our brain is programming, our brain is picking up adaptive traits, like, okay, this is how you survive this situation, this is what you do, this is food, this is poison, this is all of those things. Our brain is just going. And if you were in a reality, let's say like your mother was abused, or your father could have been abused, your mother could have been very promiscuous and walked over your father, and vice versa. Like, it can always go on both sides, and that's what you witness. And okay, so let's say it was on the side where like your mother was abused and your father took advantage of her, or men took advantage of her and really devalued her and lowered her self-worth and all of those things. Now there's a part in you that knows like this isn't okay, But the fact that you're so young, your mind is so vulnerable, and all of those things, subconsciously, you're programmed over a length of time to think, okay, well, I guess it is okay. My mom survived it. I mean, my dad does love her, even though he hits her sometimes and he says mean things to her, and my mom's crying, and that's what love looks like. It's just tough love. It's just reality of love. So in those moments, in those defining moments of your life, you are being programmed to seeing those things, and just living those and observing them. You are being programmed to not value yourself, to not value humanity, to not value a real connection, to not understand what it is, what true love is, what it really feels like, and what it really looks like. Love does not hurt. Love is not angry. Love is not jealous. Love is not abusive. Love is not aggressive. And I'm saying all of those things to say, absolutely, someone who has all of those low vibrational traits in them can absolutely transform and heal and become the biggest beacon of light, the biggest demonstration of love and what it truly looks like. And that goes back to my first point. It comes from being healed. You're not going to know what is right. You're not going to know how to love another person, what to accept from another person, what to identify worthy within yourself. You can't even identify self-worth if you have not taken a journey to heal yourself, to really look back like that was not okay. What my dad did to my mom was not okay. How my mom stepped out on my dad was not okay. Whatever that is, whatever you looked at, whatever you were exposed to in childhood, more often than not, it was not perfect. It was very fragmented. It was very distorted, and especially coming from like the black community, African Americans, just our history of how our family, just from slavery on, how the man and the woman was ripped apart, and the child could have witnessed their father being beaten or their mother being beaten. Just a lot of distorted, just a lot of toxicity and bad nature, just a lot, and it's very traumatic. And anyone can have post-traumatic stress syndrome. Post-traumatic stress syndrome is you still being traumatized by something that you witnessed that you shouldn't have witnessed. And just because you can accept it, just because you moved on from it and all of those things and you could handle it, doesn't mean that it should have ever happened. Going all the way back to slavery, it should have never happened. We should have never seen like the stars, especially in the African American collective. We should have never witnessed that. Witnessing our parents being ripped apart and being created enemies within the family, just all from a jaded, very flawed, very low vibrational, toxic system, just from the beginning of forever. For what we know, most of our reality is either in the African American collective, in the community. More often than not, the reality, the norm is single parent. More often than not, it's the mother, the father not being in the home, or if the father is in the home, it's a lot of toxicity, a lot of drama, really not knowing how to come together in a conducive, wholesome manner to truly love and to project love and to receive love. And that was, it was all, everything. This is about to get deep. I don't know how deep I should get with this. So, let's just say when you were programmed, you watched your father be ripped from your home, you watch all of these wrongdoings and all of those things happen in your family dynamic. Watching that and observing that, it naturally lowers your sense of self-worth. It lowers your vibration of love. Love is the most powerful energy. So, going back to slavery, just briefly, when it was very strategic how the black man and woman was ripped apart. It was very thought out. It was very methodical. If we create chaos and hate and anger, then they not even going to remember love. They're not even going to have any recollection of what real love is and how powerful and profound real love is, especially between the African man and woman. our love is powerful. It's profound. Our love shaped this reality. Love is the highest vibration that you can operate on. Love and light is the highest vibration you can operate on. But you couldn't even begin to understand that and know that if you were birthed and born into trauma, your history of your existence, of your people, of your collective is trauma, ill will, toxicity, darkness, death, demise, like all of these low vibrating things. That's how generational curses are formed. That's how they were created. So it's not until, I don't know, you run into a starseed and you just start to realize and have someone to truly explain it to you. Because with me growing up, I always knew like everything that I knew was not what was really real. So it's not until you are able to even take a step back enough from the trauma of your day-to-day life. You grew up in a toxic family home where your father can be beating on you, verbal abuse. I mean, the list goes on, from molestation, things that's hidden in the church. It goes on. Like, the list is inevitable of all the things that one could have been exposed to growing up in a low toxic manner. And more often than not, it is of the African American collective. It's just the facts of the matter. So you can't even begin to even identify, relate, connect, go back to a part of yourself that is so loving, so light, and so pure if the history of your existence has been so dark, so heavy, so nasty. So moving forward, let's say, okay, you were raised in that family dynamic that was not conducive, that was low vibration, that was toxic. That's what's in you. You go out into the world, you find someone. And usually when you find someone that you care about, you do have moments where you're of a higher vibration, where you can attract truly good-natured experiences. And that's what happens in the beginning of relationships. If you can, you know how in the beginning relationship everything's just rainbows and butterflies, like, oh, we got this in common, oh, la 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 la. That's because you guys are still at the very introduction part of your relationship. You have not allowed triggers to form, but surely they will form. The further you go into a relationship, the more serious it is, the more contrast that is naturally introduced in a relationship. So when contrast is introduced into a relationship, that is with the sole purpose for you to identify, is this something that you're going to accept, or if this is something that you know that you deserve more. And it's all on how you react to that. Is really based on what you've observed in life. So if you know, like, you could know something that you don't deserve, but let's say you watched your mother for all of your life taking what she didn't deserve, and she survived, she's okay. So you're like, I can do it. I'm surviving. I'm a strong black woman. I can do it. I'm okay. That's flawed. And then at some point, at some point, I know for me especially, and just innately as a human being, at some point you're going to get tired of being mistreated. You're going to get tired of being taken for granted and misused and all of those things. And absolutely, you're supposed to. That is you identifying, like, this doesn't serve me. This is not where I've placed my level of self-worth. I need more. I need better. And that's when you go back to yourself again, because you cannot demand more and better from a distorted, fragmented energy. Only thing you can do is demand more and better from yourself. Go in, heal yourself, evolve past those relationships. Now, absolutely, if you're in a union, in a relationship with someone that is willing to put in the same amount of work and effort that it takes to be healed and continue to heal, because healing is an ongoing process. It's not a one-time thing. Just like life is ongoing. It's not just you're here and then nothing. You're growing, you're evolving. So as you evolve, you heal. When you grow, you heal. It's ongoing. You're going to heal and identify and evolve until you are gone, until you're dead. So it is not for you to look at that person like, you're doing this to me and why you're making me feel like this and da 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 da. That is the time where you go within and say, what is it about me that I have not identified within myself that I am allowing such a vibration to be presented to me on such a regular basis. On a regular basis, what am I honoring energetically and emotionally that attracts more situations from this person, or whether it's a different person but the same emotions, the same essential outcome? That is absolutely the time where you go in to yourself and you identify your traumas. You're like, well, maybe I'm accepting this because I watched my mom do it. Maybe I am very promiscuous and I sleep around and do all those things because I watched my mom do it. Or maybe I walk over women and use them as trophies because I watched my dad do it. Maybe I'll rather give you money than to spend time with you because that's how my parents, that's how they got rid of me. That's how they pacify me, because I wasn't valued enough for time, but money, that's where they saw my value in a dollar. And then that's how, like, women grow up, little girls grow up, and they base their worth on a dollar amount instead of a heart posture, instead of effort, instead of true essence and soul substance and heart posture. You'll base your worth on a tangible thing, something as mediocre as a piece of paper. But that absolutely comes from you witnessing possibly your mother just accepting whatever because they had money, or your daddy doing like the worst to your mother and then just handing her money, like, okay, that money's going to make up for everything. So it's situations like that. And let's get back on track. Help people to come in union with each other. Yeah, so when you're whole, when you've identified self-worth and self-knowing, before you even enter a union, you're going to know, you're going to pick up on all the characteristics, you're going to ask all the right questions, and more importantly, once you do the journey of healing and identifying your self-worth, and you're honoring the vibration of your worthiness, not lowering your vibration to appease someone, to keep someone, and all of those things, you're truly just honoring the vibration of yourself. The universe will honor that back to you. The universe does not speak language, it speaks energy, it speaks emotions, it speaks vibrations. That's all energetic. So when you are honoring a higher vibration, when you're identifying your self-worth, that's when the universe is like, okay, I pick up on that language, I read that language. They read the bad language too. That's why you get more of the same situations. What's that saying? Different places, different faces, but same thing, or whatever that is. That's why it's that's where that comes from. Because yeah, you could have switched your relationship. You could be on your third wife or third husband or third baby daddy, second baby daddy for sure. Because you're still honoring that vibration within yourself, even though, like, like, I deserve better, but still letting your baby daddy come over, letting your baby mama do the most, letting her abuse you, cuss you out, use your child as a weapon. Your baby daddy got you out here acting and looking a mess, acting a fool, all of those things, and you deserve better. But when you're engaging in those things, you're still honoring that vibration. So the universe is like, oh, okay, you like it, we love it. Your wish is my command. This is what you want, then this is what you'll get. So it's not until you identify what you truly want and who you truly are that you will truly get what you want. And you will, the universe will yield to you new people with higher vibrations, higher thought processes, more healed heart postures, and all of those things. And then, so the next point of this topic is relationship. So, relationship. You're in a union with someone that you're relating to. So that speaks volumes. Relationships are not as abundant as people make them seem. Like, it's just, oh, it's as many guys as there is fish in the sea. Yes, that's true, but how many of them are you relating to? Women fall like apples fall off a tree. Women all around like apples are on the tree. Yes, that's true, but what tree are you picking from? Like, are you relating to this, or are you just grabbing because you know it's a lot? And are you just going to keep grabbing until you're exhausted, you're bitter, you're closed off, you can't trust, you can't think, you can't eat, you can't sleep, you can't get into any type of relationship because you're so traumatized because you keep just grabbing. what is it called? Quantity over quality. Like, you see all of this quantity, but where's the quality? Who are you truly relating to? Just because it's a vast variety to choose from, you can be in a building with 100 women or 100 men, and you can relate to none of them or just one of them. And that's the whole point of a relationship, to join a union with someone that you relate to, with someone that you have relations with. You can relate your spirit, your soul, your mind, all of those things. It's something, you're joining union with someone of relativity. If you're not relative to each other, if it's if it's an irrelevant or irrelevant person, your relationship is going to be irrelevant. Sex and relationships are two different things. It should be thought as the same thing, but we don't think of it as the same thing until it's too late. But sex and relationships are the same thing. You're only supposed to have sex with someone that you are in a relationship with. And you're only supposed to be in a relationship with someone that you truly can relate your soul back to. And that's all about reciprocity. You're relating who you are to another person. Reciprocity, give and take, union, balance. What's the next topic? Yeah, not looking for each other within yourself. Absolutely. When you get into a relationship, and that's the thing, because it's so confusing. Because it's not confusing. It's not really. When you're responsible about your emotions and all of those things. When you get in a relationship, you are not, that person that you're in a relationship with are not the reason that you're happy. They're not the reason that you wake up in the morning. They're not the end all to your be all. They are simply a point of attraction that you're reflecting your wholeness, your love, your unconditional standpoint onto them, because you are whole, you are unconditional within yourself. So you don't have any more fragmented pieces. You don't have any more trust issues. You don't have any more nasty words and low vibrating energies. You don't have any more deceit and manipulation and all of those things in you to project to someone, because you've healed those things. One moment. Because you've healed those things. And when you heal, when you do the journey of self, you heal. That comes with a great, you're not going to forget your healing process. I don't care what nobody say. Healing is ugly. It's dark. It's deep. It's lonely. It's ugly, but it's worth it. When you heal yourself, you're identifying yourself, what you deserve, what you're worthy of. You're identifying and you're healing yourself from everything that you did not accept, everything that you did not deserve. So that's healing in itself. So once you're whole, because no one can do that for you, no one but yourself. Once you're whole, you put all of those things in you. You would never look to another person like, what can you put in me to make me feel good? You're like, no, I'm going to keep my good feelings inside, and I hope that you have your good feelings inside, and we can just project those onto each other and just be happy feelings everywhere. And then, let's see, what's the next topic? Staying in balance with yourself. Yeah, just going and making sure a relationship is a job. Not saying it like that, but a relationship is a responsibility. Just like your life is a responsibility. Managing your emotions are a responsibility. And that speaks to my next topic, like just staying in balance. Like, of course you're going to argue. No relationship is perfect. Even once you identify self-worth and healing and you are in a stable, conducive relationship, there's still healing within that relationship, because now there's two individuals who are joining their lives, that it comes with contrast that you have to balance out as a union now, as you're relating through this contrast together. There's still a balancing act. It's even a greater balancing act when you have two people trying to balance on the same board versus just you doing your own thing. Now you got somebody else too. Like, you absolutely have to keep your emotions in balance. Yeah, you're going to still get in arguments with your counterpart. Yes, they're going to hurt your feelings. Yes, we're still human. But it's like to the degree and how you heal and how long you stay in those moments is what makes all the difference. How you balance back out. And if you're in a relationship where you're trying to do all the repair, that's not a balanced relationship. You're giving, you're pouring from your cup, and eventually your cup is going to be empty. And that's what happens where you can be married for so many years, have so many children, or just been in a relationship with this person for so long, and then it was like, I can't take no more, and then you're just gone. That's because you've depleted yourself, and you're innately, your soul is going to do whatever it has to get you back on the track to who you truly are. And that can look like ending a relationship abruptly. That can I'm not gonna say it can look like you having to leave a relationship because you've been abused, but that's absolutely, you're honoring someone else's lower vibration to the point where they feel like they can just do this to you. And then innately, because you know that that's not who you are, what you deserve, your soul is going to push you out of that situation. So it's like, are you going to leave that situation gracefully? Are you going to try to balance it out if you can? Or are you going to be pushed from it and be resentful and all of those things? It's all up to you how you balance out your emotions and how you balance out life. If you are responsible with your emotions, what time is it? If you are responsible with your emotions and how you think and how you treat people, and most importantly how you treat yourself and how you allow people to treat you, then there's not really much for you to stabilize, because you're already pretty stable. So you're able to, like, if something get escalated, you weren't already there before it happened, so it's not gonna be like rah. But if something get escalated and you're pretty stable, you're like, okay, I don't like it up here. I haven't been up here in a while. Let's bring it back down. Because the longer you are in traumatic situations, the higher tolerance that you have. Just because you can handle it does not mean that you're supposed to. You always want to keep like a happy medium within yourself and your counterpart, to have that same medium within themselves, so you're just balanced as a union. Yeah, I already spoke on healing from associated trauma. So you can enter a relationship and they could say something to you or do something, and it triggers like what you witnessed your mother go through, or what you've went through, or you could even tell them like, I told you, like, this hurts me, and all of those things, and here you are doing it. And it's just really, that's a whole other video, but it's really just healing from traumas. Let's say you're in a relationship with someone and they're doing the very things that you told them that you hated and all those things. And law of attraction absolutely is alive, well, and active in every aspect of our life, including our most intimate relationships. So if you're honoring a vibration or emotion that you haven't healed, like, oh, they're going to cheat on me, or I know they're going to leave, or just something that's not of a conducive nature, like you still have that thought process and an emotion within yourself. You keep it concealed so they can't really see it, but the universe feels it, the universe knows it. So then you're going to get back those emotions that you're still honoring on an internal level, even though, like, for face value, no one can probably know what you're battling emotionally, mentally, what traumas you're still holding on to from past relationships, or even from this relationship that has not been healed. And that's your responsibility to bring awareness to that, to bring healing to it. And it's important for you to relating with a person. Again, you have to be in a union with someone that is willing to do the same amount of work that you're willing to, unless you are okay with the stagnation, like your partner always being like vibrationally behind you. Like, you don't have to accept that. They have free will. They can choose to want to be a better person. And if they don't want to be a better person, don't honor that vibration. Don't honor that relationship. Move forward. The universe is not going to give you more while you're still stuck in less. Like, you're not going to receive more if you're still seated at the table of lessness and lack and all of those things. You have to energetically, emotionally heal and move on. I'm not going to say just forget and move on, because that's a very flawed premise with law of attraction. It's really hard for you not to attract something that you have not identified and healed. And then just having an unconditional viewpoint for your person. Unconditional in the sense of, like, if they dip low, if they go off, if they're having a bad day and all those things, not to be so self-righteous and condemning, like, I would never do that, I would never say that, like, da-da-da-da-da. Who are you? They're who they are. They have their own pain. They have their own process. They have their own way of coping and expressing and all of those things. And absolutely, you don't expect God, Spirit, Source, Jesus, whoever you identify with, you don't expect them to look at you in a moment of weakness and like, ugh, go away. Like, no, you can't do that with your counterpart. You have to still look at them in the eyes of source. Like, okay, I know, like, this is just a moment for you. This is not who you truly are. This is not what you predominantly operate at. I'm going to let you have your moment. And sometimes you have those moments with them. Like, you can go emotionally low. That's free will. You're not going to be perfect. It's just how long you stay there. Are you going to say, I'm going to let you have your moment and I'm going to love you in my absence? I'm going to tangle with you in this vibration for a minute, but I'm going to come back out. It's just all up to you. But in the midst of that, you remain unconditional. Understand that that's a human, or having a human experience. They're having a human experience, human emotions, all of those things. They're not perfect. You're not perfect. Yeah, and then the ability to remove yourself from low vibrational circumstance. You can de-escalate, like, okay, I love you. I'm gonna go to the room. You go here. We whatever. Let's balance us back out, and then we can come back together. Absolutely, and that's with being emotionally responsible. Like, you have to be emotionally responsible. You have to be mentally responsible. Because if you're not, that something, instant that could have been de-escalated in a minute to 3 minutes, it can go on to 3 days to a full-on breakup. Like, it's up to you to be emotionally and mentally responsible in any and every facet of your life, dealing with whomever. That candle going crazy. Let's see. And accepting them in their wholeness. Accepting them when they're low. Accept them that they're still, because again, we're all healing. But it's imperative for you to heal from any traumas or any association and attachments that is attached to a love standpoint in your life. It is not wise at all to enter a love dynamic when you know you have so many fragmented pieces concerning love. Heal yourself. So when you do enter a love dynamic, you don't have to heal that, and you are not hurting them and hurting yourself. So just loving a person in their wholeness, knowing that they're not perfect, that they are human, and that it is a choice. And also freedom, allowing your person to be free. Love is not possessive. Love is not controlling. Love is not manipulating. Any of those things. Love is free. Now, I'm not saying that you go out and have an orgy and you can have all these partners. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, like, a person is still, they have their freedom to express who they are. They have a freedom and a right to express, like, when something's bothering them. They have a right to go into a lower vibration. They have a right to say, I don't want to talk. We're not having this conversation right now. Just leave me alone. I want to do this. They have a right to explore their dreams and their passions. They have a right to change their mind about how they feel about life, how they perceive life, what's the next step in their life, how they even perceive the current circumstance in your relationship. They have a right to express themselves. They have a right to be free. You, I'm saying for you, like, it's your right to be free. It's your right to follow your dreams. It's your right to be happy. It's your right to change your mind. It's your right to express yourself. It's how you do it. That's where the contrast comes in. And how are you going to choose to do these things? That's really what makes all the difference. And then lastly is knowing that love is a choice. It's a choice. It's a responsibility. And it's something that should be treated as such, as a choice that holds great responsibility. Just like when you, I would hope when you birth your children, more often than not, you know that, like, that's a choice, and you know that you're going to be responsible for nurturing and cultivating and loving this person. Loving your counterpart is a choice. Being unconditional is a choice. Being loyal, being faithful is a choice. It's a responsibility. It's something that should be of high priority. It should be one of the highest priorities, right under self. Like loving other people, loving your children, loving your counterpart. Just love is a choice and it's a responsibility. And it should not be treated lightly. It should not be misused. And let's see, is there anything else that I need to talk about? No, that's it. Just to remember that love is a responsibility and it's a choice. In every moment in a relationship, it is your responsibility to choose to do the right thing. And that can mean leaving a situation if it's not feasible for you, and that absolutely can mean healing and evolving in a situation. It takes great effort and it takes great responsibility, but it will yield greatness, power. Again, going back to my opening message. Love is power. When we get back to that, knowing that love is power, when you heal your pain, that transforms to power, and you can exert that power through love, that's life changing. So I know that this message will be helpful for many. Mana, love and light to you all. So MOTE, and I'll see you soon.